starting for the second portion. I think we may have a shy group.
I'm just listening, really. I'm just, seeing what people say. I'm just listening and learning, really.
Well,
But
Jill, I
but I'm
think
very interested in what you've been saying about methylene blue.
Mhm,
I'm finding that once I've got up to 20 drops a day, but I'll
mhm,
split that over about.
mhm,
I'll make it up in a big glass of water, and I'll drink it in, say, 3 lots over the day.
mhm.
I read I'm in a group on Facebook, and some people say it works better if you take vitamin C with it. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Well, maybe there's a reason why they say that. Let me check. Is there synergy methylene blue and vitamin C? I think it really depends. It looks like that. Actually, there's some theoretical interaction between chemical reduction oxidation interaction between methylene blue and vitamin C. And it says that basically vitamin C can further reduce methylene blue to make it a leucomethylene blue. And
Right.
so that it's they call it pharmacologically active, but it's got it's got issues. So um, and and I think it also depends on the for antimicrobial function. I think that LDN taking with antioxidants would be a mistake. And the reason is because the mechanism by which methylene blue works is oxidative damage, just like IV vitamin C. So if you put any kind of antioxidant with pro-oxidant, then you're undoing each other. So that's actually the reason why when people go for radiation treatment, people say don't take your antioxidants. And I think that I've heard from patients that there's been some radiation oncologist who says, don't take supplements that are antioxidant. And there are others who will say even more. They'll say, don't even eat foods that are antioxidant, which to me is a bit more ridiculous, but I can understand where they're coming from. So it sounds like there is but the dose. I mean, the devil. They say devil and angel both reside in the detail. So I think there seems to be some interaction, but they say that it's more speculative and not established by evidence. And for COVID-19 or long COVID, somebody did use methylene blue, uh, vitamin C, and NAC, N-acetylcysteine, but there wasn't really great evidence. Again, no great evidence, but theoretically, it could have maybe a synergy. And every time we talk about methylene blue, we have to emphasize that people cannot take methylene blue if they're on SSRI,
Yeah.
SNRI, or MAO inhibitors. And some of the MAO inhibitors could be like tricyclics also can have a problem. So, but I think it's a dose dependent. It says here that methylene blue. It seems like they're in a lower doses. Methylene blue enters mitochondria and acts as electron donor and recycler. And then in higher concentrations, the methylene blue overwhelms this equilibrium. And then now it's behaving as a competing electron acceptor, which means that it pulls electrons away from electron transport chain complexes. And then like the leuco methylene blue gets reoxidized by dissolved oxygen, and then it generates hydrogen peroxide. So it's pretty cool that it can do that. And this is a cheat without doing IV, IV if this can be done by oral, this is a cheat because in order to create hydrogen peroxide, it is it's not easy to do that. You have to actually uh, inject people. So,
Oh yeah, sure,
and
yeah.
I can create a second document, but I think still not a lot of data. I think that they're talking about micromolar um, dose versus millimolar dose. And millimolar dose, you need the IV vitamin C. Some patients will say, I've taken 10 grams of IV vitamin. I was like, how did you do it? It's like, I just took powder. And then they say, um, I I got just diarrhea. And I think that I've heard several people saying that. As a matter of fact, I know of people who use that protocol to clear their gut to induce diarrhea. Um, I'm not sure that is the best way. But there's even a rule of hormesis. Hormesis means that at lower doses, things work differently than higher doses. And that's kind of how LDN works. And that's
Yeah.
why the more I study methylene blue, I see I see LDN in it,
Yeah.
and but there's other studies saying that if you take vitamin C more than 250 milligrams, it doesn't get absorbed. And actually, my mentor did a study to show that. But people, it usually doesn't hurt people unless they get vitamin C stones, ascorbic acid stones in their kidney. But it looks like there are people who use IV methylene blue, IV vitamin C, and they're saying that that's a really bad idea. So
Right.
it's not advisable. And if you're doing IV, I think you should do one thing at a time. But I think
Yeah, no,
what
yeah.
makes sense actually is to maybe, and if people want to do 2 to 3 grams a day, uh, I think the best way to do it is frequency because there's innate um, inefficiency in our body to be able to absorb vitamin C more than 250 milligrams. So what I practically advise my patients is to do 500 milligrams to 1,000 several times a day. And
Oh,
um,
right, okay. That's
yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
and that probably is the best way
And
to do.
then the body can absorb it better. The body can absorb it better that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But in theory, we can absorb 250 milligrams at a time. So I think
yeah.
that hitting it 4 times, not necessarily 1 gram is going in,
Mm.
but like if you go to stores, I think it's easier to find 1 gram than 500 milligram. Theoretically, I think 500 milligram, taking it 5 times a day is what I recommend. But it's not easy to do because that means you have to be swallowing. I think it's easier with Siri. You just tell Siri to remind you every 4 hours. Um,
Mm.
4 times 5 is 20 hours. So every 3 hours, I suppose, like, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9.
That's quite difficult. That's quite difficult to remember.
Yeah. So that's why I say every time you eat or drink, just pop up vitamin C. That's more
Yeah.
doable.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. That does make sense. Thank you. Thank you. I wondered about that. I have noticed since I've been taking methylene blue. I mean, it's very interesting what you say about you've got to get the dose right. Same with LDN, it's dose dependent. I find that, I mean, normally I suffer badly with if I catch a cold, I can't clear it. I've noticed the last few weeks I've had a couple of colds and I've got rid of them faster.
Because the methylene blue does not one of the things about uh, our tools for antimicrobial is it doesn't kill everything. It's very
Yeah.
specific, and that's good, but that's bad also. But whereas methylene blue doesn't care. That's why I call it poor man's vitamin C. But like I said, uh, it's best to do it under either educate yourself um, and also to have someone you can consult with. I think is very very helpful.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, that makes sense. I'll let somebody else ask a question now
There's
because
nobody
I'm just
else.
really just I'm just really just listening here.
Jill, it's just you and I.
Oh, Have they all gone?
Yeah, I just I'll stop recording. I'll just talk about our group until someone else jumps in.